Who says that finishing fast is a bad thing? Over the past week, I've been determined to 100% Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, as fast as possible, because that's obviously a normal thing to want to do. On the PlayStation 3, the time to beat was 3 days and 4 hours by Spider Legend. Traditionally though, speedruns are usually timed by the time you're actually playing the game, and they don't generally count the time you're having dinner, or sleeping, or having a poo. However, on trophy leaderboards, the timer starts from when you get your first trophy until you get your last trophy. So it's all about being efficient with your real life time. I'm not going to go too in depth because I don't really want you to know any of my strats. I'll teach you some, but I don't want you to know them all. Gotta keep something secret. But let's just say, to beat this person's time, you would have to essentially forget about sleeping and play the game constantly. Let's do a quick little trophy rundown and see what tasks we have to perform within this 3-day limit if we ever want to get close to beating this legend. Straight away, we're going to be popping the story trophies. That's probably to be expected really, as it is what happens in most games. But I'd also have to get as many S ranks and as many mission tasks done on the first go through as I possibly could. Doing that would cut down on the amount of times I would have to replay missions. Now, replaying missions is kind of a crucial thing in Metal Gear Solid 5. You will have to do that regardless, because there are some tasks you just cannot get done on your first go through. It's impossible. There are, however, some creative little ways you can skirt around some of them, but there are some that just have to be done twice. It's the nature of the game. S ranks, though, are a different story because they are incredibly generous with ranks. You can basically just run through the game shooting people and getting alerts, but if you save enough prisoners, do enough tasks and do it quick enough, then it tends to be that you'll get an S rank, which is nice. Whilst I'm running through these 50 story missions, I've also got to develop 300 weapons/items. Now that mostly happens in the background though, so it's not really a big issue. Anytime that you have any sort of downtime or that you're in the ACC, I just develop as many things as I can. A lot of them pop instantly, and some of them only take about 18 minutes or so to finish. Some of the later things though, they can take a couple of hours, but you're going to be playing the game for more than that anyway, so this trophy's going to pop quite late down the line, but it's very easy to get. It's something you don't have to worry about. However, there is something we do have to worry about. 2 things in fact, and that would be nuclear development and the mother base platform construction. Now, depending on the staff you have at mother base, the nuke can take 24 real hours to develop. Usually though, it will take a little bit longer. Unless you've got some beast boys up in there. You probably won't though. But if you do, that's fantastic. But you probably won't. And as I say, we have the mother base platform construction. These things, both the nuke and the construction, they take not only time, but they also take a hell of a lot of resources. The nuke requires 75,000 fuel and 50,000 minor metal. Now, if you've not played Metal Gear Solid 5, let me just say that anything over 10,000 resources is often quite a large amount. When it comes to developing weaponry and gear, the usual amount is about 200 or 300. Some of the higher end things take about 2,000. This takes 75,000 fuel resources. And let's not forget, Mother Base also requires a high amount of materials, so there's a little bit of a conflict here. We have to give things to one, but we also need to give things to the other. The nuke, however, does take real life time, so it might take 27 hours, let's say, real life time. So I would suggest going for that one first, because you can sort of put that out the way, stick that in the back of your mind, you know, just get it done, get it sorted, use all the resources, and it's gone. Mother Base, however, will take more resources than a nuke, but over time, gradually, you know, incremental. So it's going to start out really low, and the construction might only take an hour. And then the next time you do it, it might have doubled, and it might take 3 hours, and so on and so forth, until we have 4 platforms each. Yeah, it's going to take some time. However, I'm an absolute pro, so I have my ways to get this going pretty damn fast. Let me explain. Once you get to the mission The War Economy, which takes place in Africa, you get a new mission which is called Retake the Platform. And once you've done all that, you get to unlock the thing called Forward Operating Base Infiltration, which is an online thing where you can invade other people's bases online and get some rewards. Now, I spent a lot of time invading people here. Some of the really high-end bases can reward you with over 10,000 materials per run. So obviously, it kind of makes sense to get good at infiltrating people's FOBs. And of course, you want to do them as often as possible. See, that way, we get more staff, and we can also upgrade Mother Base and work towards that almighty nuke. Quick little fact, the nuke only unlocks when Act 1 is finished. So basically, you've got to play the majority of the game before you even get access to the nuke. So you've got a little bit of time to start stacking up these resources, but not much time. But once you've beaten all these missions and you've cleared Act 1, you've got your nuke going, you've got your Mother Base rolling, everything's looking good, more things will start to appear. And those things are side ops. Side ops. Side ops are actually available very early on, but I personally wouldn't recommend you really bother with them just yet. The reason being is because the open worlds are quite large. Not very large, but quite large. Large enough that it would take a significant amount of time to run from one end to the other, doing random things. There are 157 side ops. Some of them, though, are considered main missions in a way, or important side ops that actually do reflect on the main story. So they can sort of be cast out. There's also some that are target practice within Mother Base, so I don't know if I'd really consider those side ops particularly, since you can kind of just bosh them out in like 2 minutes. But you know, every side op's a side op, and it has to get done. All 157 of them. Speaking of which, you can only have about 6 side ops active at once. So let's just say you drop into Afghanistan. You can only do about 6 of the side ops before you have to leave and come back, and then do the other ones that have been added to the list. Yeah, it can get a bit frustrating sometimes. I'll tell you what though, there is one trophy that seems to annoy people, even to this very day. Every time I look on some forum or some message board about Metal Gear Solid 5, you will find someone complaining about this trophy. And that is to collect every animal in the game. It's not as hard as you might think. And let me tell you my tactic. For this, what you want to do is just ignore all the animals initially. If you see some sheep or whatever, sure, go and get them. You see a bear, that's fine, collect that. It's out in the open, go ahead and Fulton extract those little things. That's fine. However, there's certain other things that can only be captured with a cage. So don't worry early on, don't worry. It's fine. You want to wait until you have the required staff to unlock the max cage. Once you've got your max rank capture cage, then you can start to place them down. Usually, I do it within main missions and side ops for the big speed strats. You see, because in some main missions, you get placed right next to places where the rare animals can be caught. So it makes sense. Do a main mission, use your maxed out capture cage, and get some rare animals. Come on. It's all up here. It's all in the brain. Honestly though, if you really are struggling, there's tons of resources out there on the webernets that just tell you where the animals are. So if you're in need of it, just Google it. Come on now. So simple. And yet, it still catches people out. Good. Another pro tip from Grandmaster Klye is to collect the delivery invoices whenever possible. A lot of main missions take place within the key outposts of the game, and this is a great time to get them. Since you're already there, you might as well. Once you pick up these invoices, you can fast travel between areas, and that'll make some missions go by super fast because you can just skip to the end, and it's also really good for some side ops because you can just teleport essentially to the side op location. Fantastic. It's not just for the convenience though, we also have to collect every single blueprint and key item, and the invoices are part of those key items. Most blueprints though are just sort of scattered throughout the world, so you just have to go to certain outposts and find them. If you know where they are, like me, you can just pick them up no problem. But like I say, there are many resources out there that tell you where they are, Most of the blueprints, though, are hidden within key dispatch missions. Ah yes, key dispatch missions. Thankfully, these all happen in the background, so all you have to do is get your team, send them out on a dispatch, and hope for the best. In the early ones, you've got about a 95% chance of victory, which is good. Everyone likes that. Obviously that means you can still fail, but it's very unlikely. And they only take like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's not bad. But wait until you get down to the later stages. Oh, dearie, dearie me. The last few, you can have around a 50% chance of success. And they take about 2 to 3 hours to finish. So you have a 50% chance to lose and waste 3 hours, and possibly even lose some staff in the process, because they might have died. You gotta love that RNG. As for the key items though, most of them are gained throughout the story. However, there is one of them which I have to focus on, and you possibly would also have to focus on if you ever decide to do this challenge. That thing we have to focus on is called Grand Master Fulton, which just so happens to be my rapper name. For this, you'll have to Fulton 1,000 people. That does not include animals, that doesn't include vehicles. 1,000 humans. Needless to say, you will be Fultoning everybody you see for the foreseeable future. But once you end up getting the Grandmaster Fulton, there are no more limits. The silencers come off, the grenades come out, weapons get lethal. So that's basically it. Now you know what to do, it's all about executing it. Or more like it was time for me to execute those things. So, did I beat the time of 3 days and 4 hours? Metal Gear Solid 5 is considered to be quite a long game, and 3 days and 4 hours, ooh, it's a bit of a lofty target. So, did I beat the time? You bet your tiny arse I did! Yay! Although it wasn't beaten by a huge margin, and I chalk that up to me not being as skilled as I could have been, and also me being on the PlayStation 3 version, since it's, 30 FPS, slower loading times, crapper draw distance, and it's 720p, and it's a little bit blurry in some places, It's just how it is. Nevertheless, victory was achieved. Well, hang on a minute. What about the PlayStation 4 version? This fella here, just the plat, did the PlayStation 4 version in 2 days and 11 hours. Mate, that is a whole 4 hours faster than I did it on the PlayStation 3. Jesus Christ. 2 days and 11 hours? I think I know what my response to that would be.
I think we can do better than that.
Now, the PlayStation 4 version is the same in every single way, apart from, of course, the improved resolution, improved frame rate, improved loading times, improved draw distance, and of course the improved online. Will that be the difference though? Or is it all down to execution and skill? It's time to put the bandana on. One last time.
48 hours later.
Whew. So, did I manage it? Did I stay awake for 2 days and end up beating Just the Plat's incredible time? Of course I bloody did! I'm a Metal Gear master! Mate, I beat the time by a significant margin as well. Look at that! The legend never dies, and the legend never sleeps. Will this time ever be beaten? I don't know. I hope someone does take me up on this challenge though. Maybe there's a really good Metal Gear Solid speedrunner out there. However, SpeedPlat and Speedrun, two very different beasts. So, will the time ever be beaten? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if somebody does try to challenge me, just remember, you've swung at the boss, so you'd better not miss.